I absolutely love the Minecraft soundtrack. Talk about a beautiful, nostalgic masterpiece. All of the incredible composers have made some of the best video game songs of all time. From Sweden to Area Math to Infinite Amethyst to Puzzle Box, all of these songs perfectly capture what they're trying to represent, whether it be creativity, exploration, or adventure. Since I started my channel, I've been dying to get a chance to talk about it. And today, I'm finally doing it by starting with the music discs. These are a genius addition to the game. They act as fun collectibles while also giving us a chance to hear more upbeat and different additions to the soundtrack. Since Mojang has started adding them in every update, they've been some of the features I look forward to the most. However, not all of these discs are on the same level, and I happen to have an opinion about them, so today I thought it would be cool to rank all of them from worst to best. But first, the end of the year is closing in fast, and we're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of it. So if you liked the video, consider subscribing. Now let's set some ground rules. I have two things to mention first. One, I'm not a musician. I'm not going to rank these based on how complex or impressive the pieces are. I'm just going to be ranking them by what my monkey brain thinks sounds good. Keep in mind, all of this is just my opinion. I think most of these discs are phenomenal, and if you would rank one higher or lower than I do, that's awesome, and I agree with you that that disc is great. Two, I'm not going to be ranking these based on how good the song is, but how well they work as discs. For most of these, that's going to be based on how good the song is, but for a few, considering the context of where they're found or what they're trying to do is going to be pretty important, especially since 3 of these aren't really even music. If this was based purely on that, we all know exactly where they would end up. So, with all the rules now explained, let's get into the ranking. Yeah, this might be the easiest last place I've ever heard. 13 is not music, which doesn't make it bad, but it also isn't doing anything else either. It is essentially just a collection of cave noises, and if there's one thing Minecraft could do with less of, it's those. I get that it's trying to be spooky, but when I listen to it, I don't feel that. I just end up thinking, ugh, what is this? It doesn't help that this is one of the most common discs in the game, being found in dungeons. You end up getting multiple duplicates of these, and if you ever get one when you get a skeleton to kill a creeper, it just rubs salt in the wound. All of this makes it the worst disc in the game. This might be a controversial pick, but number 18 is going to be Creator Music Box. This disc, in my opinion, shouldn't be in the game. I remember when we first got the Tricky Trials soundtrack and knew that 3 music discs were coming to the trial chamber. We were all wondering what the 3rd disc was going to be. It didn't even cross my mind that the music box version of Creator could be the missing song. In the official Nether Update soundtrack, there are 2 different remixes of Pigstep, but only one of them is in the game. That's what I assumed would happen with this too, but nope, it got added to the game and it just ends up feeling empty. Sure, the music box vibe is kinda fun, but that's completely overshadowed by the far superior version. In a trial chamber, I always end up feeling disappointed when I get this one and not the original Creator. The song isn't bad, but why would I ever choose to listen to it when I can just listen to Creator? That's the main problem with the disc. By itself, it would be ranked higher, but taken in context, I honestly would have preferred just getting 2 trial chamber discs and scrapping this one completely. Next up, we have Mellow High. I don't really know what to say about this one. It's not committing any crimes, but it's also very mellow, for lack of a better word. It's not what I consider to be good music, but it's also not what I consider to be bad music. Its biggest problem is that it's barely anything. The bass is very repetitive, and the melody is very simple. I'm genuinely having a hard time explaining my thoughts because they're almost non-existent. I kind of like the darker vibes it has, but I feel like other discs do the slow and mellow type better. And for a song with mellow in its name, that's not a very good thing. It's not the kind of song I would go out of my way to listen to. So we're only 4 songs in and this is already getting really hard. All of the songs from this point forward I think are good. If this were a tier list, they would all be at least B tier. But one of them has to go here, and I think that's going to be Far. This is definitely not a bad song. My main problem with it is that it sounds way too much like a song that would just play at any point during the game. It doesn't sound very different from things like Mutation or Wet Hands. Those are not bad songs, in fact, they're some of my favorites. But for a music disc, it doesn't fit well. I like how it references the song Minecraft towards the end, and then turns it into its own thing. But having references to one of the most iconic tracks in the game also makes it less unique or memorable. Also, its length is randomly increased by 20 seconds of silence at the end. That's just kind of random. It's a beautiful piece, I just wish it was a little more distinct. Mall is a fun, synthy tune. I don't really have any problems with it. It starts out slow, gradually getting louder until it adds in the percussion and speeds up. Eventually it fades out, teasing you with an ending, but then returns in full force. It finishes off the way it started, bringing it full circle. I like this one. It's the kind of thing I would occasionally choose to listen to, but not often. I just like the other discs on this list more. A perfectly inoffensive piece. Okay, no more beating around the bush. Most of you are probably surprised it even made it this far, but 11 is up next. This is another non-musical disc, like 13. But unlike 13, 11 is actually good at its job. Keep in mind, this ranking is not about how good the song is, but if it works well as a disc. And 11 is actually kinda scary. For a broken, dark disc, it's exactly what you would expect. It seems to be telling the story of a person who's in a cave and then is attacked by monsters. It conveys this through echoing sounds, breathing, and running. I distinctly remember the first time I listened to this disc as a kid. Young me was listening to all the discs in creative mode and made it to 11. I listened, confused at first, but as soon as I heard breathing and coughing, I freaked out, breaking the jukebox. I stayed as far away from it as possible for years. It wasn't until a lot later that I appreciated what it had accomplished. To a first-time listener, this disc is genuinely disturbing. To be honest, it still makes me uncomfortable. It takes your expectation of what a music disc is and then twists it into something dark. I also love the creepypasta-esque nature of it, being exactly 1 minute and 11 seconds, emitting a redstone signal of 11 and having hidden numbers appearing when you run it through a spectrogram. Well, 13 has that too with the creeper face. I guess that's cool. There, I found one positive for disc 13. But at the end of the day, I would still prefer actual music. I appreciate what the disc does and how well it does it, but I don't think I can rank it any higher than this. This one's definitely going to be controversial, but I'm going to put Chirp at number 13. This one is pretty universally loved, and don't get me wrong, I really like it too. It's getting really hard to place these, but after shuffling it around, I think it goes here on my list. It starts out as an old-timey show tune sound, which is fun and bouncy. After a little while, it abruptly transitions into a more tranquil sound, played with chimes and synths. The rest of the song plays out like this, finishing off while the instruments slowly disappear, leaving only the synth, and then it stops. It's a very solid disc, and even I'm kinda shocked it's this low. But the other discs are just too good. Strad is another really good song. It speaks to the quality of the Minecraft soundtrack that this is number 12, and that's what I have to say about it. I think the beginning of the song is probably its strongest point. It starts with a steel pan melody, adding in more percussion and then having a something, sorry, like I said, I'm not a musician, take over from the main melody. It all comes together to sound great. I love the reference to Minecraft the song towards the middle. I feel like the part where the strings and synths take over is slightly weaker than the rest of the song, but not by much. I love the glitchy percussion notes, and the ending is really nice, finishing out with the percussion slowly getting louder and then ending abruptly. Its only fault is that the other discs are better, but I could definitely understand if this is at the top of someone's list. Man, this one's painful. I consider myself to be a stall enjoyer. It's a very love it or hate it song. You either love the jazz vibes or your ears start bleeding whenever you hear it. And I really like it, but apparently not enough. Sure, this song is really fun, but it's not super deep, and while it makes me want to sit back and jam out, it doesn't make me feel things like some of the other songs. It has a fun bass, and while the flute/recorder thing might sound silly, I think it adds to the overall chill vibes. I understand why some people hate it, but I'm not one of those people. We've reached the top 10, and number 10 is going to be Blocks. This is the longest disc in the entire game, and man does it use its runtime well. It feels like a musical journey, changing significantly 3 times before finishing. But by the end, it all feels coherent, which is really impressive. It starts off slower, using strings, synths, and percussion to make a calming beat. This repeats, adding to and changing the melody until about a third of the way through. It then switches to chimes and then brings the strings back in, playing a new melody. Halfway through the song, the melody is dropped, having the synth slowly fade out until it comes back one more time, changing the melody again. This is my favorite part of the song. It then fades out for the final time. The song is consistently strong throughout the entirety of its 5.5 minute runtime, finishing off with the best part. It absolutely deserves its length. At number 9, we have Relic. This disc is found in the Trail Ruins as one of the things you can excavate from suspicious gravel. It starts out with a retro-sounding tune with a ton of reverb, which slowly lowers in pitch until it raises back up with more instrumentation. It stays like this for the rest of the song, changing melody and adding percussion at different points. It slowly fades out to finish. For what the song is trying to be, it's perfect. Its basic melody sounds like something straight out of a classic retro game, but then it remixes it into a surprisingly great song. I kind of wish the instrumentation was more 8-bit sounding, but there are a lot of other discs that cover that base, so it makes sense why it isn't like that. It also fits really well for its location. It's meant to be a quote-unquote relic from the gaming past, which is perfect for an artifact you excavate from the earth. I really like this one, but it's still not my favorite disc written by Aaron Sheriff. Alright, it's time to talk about 5. I really wanted to make this one 5th place, but I can't justify that. Of all the non-musical discs, this is the best one, for one simple reason. Lore! I can't think of a better reward for the ancient city. It's the only disc in the game that you collect fragments of to put together into the full disc. A lot of people seem to think that it tells a full story, but I think it's probably telling multiple stories at once or skipping parts of the story since the disc itself was split into pieces. It even has a fun music section, showing that the disc is not meant to be coherent. We hear people marching, explosions, amethysts, and we even get the return of Coughing Guy. All of this is kind of random, and you can draw some conclusions between the segments. A lot of people have made theories about that, so go watch them when you're done with this video. But there's one thing that is absolutely in the disc, and that's the origins of the Warden. At one point, we hear a sound that's nowhere else in the game, that I'm pretty sure is a portal or machine activating. We then hear a Skulk sensor and a Warden roar, showing that the sound, whatever it was, caused Skulk to appear. This is the perfect disc for the ancient city. As you collect the fragments, it makes you feel like you're uncovering a puzzle, and as a reward, you get some answers about the mysteries of the place. If only 13 were this good. Wait is probably one of the most recognizable discs in the whole game. I genuinely didn't realize it was a remix of Minecraft until I made this video. I don't know how I missed that before. It starts out using percussion, making you have to wait for the melody to start. And, as any version of the Minecraft melody would be, it's pretty incredible. The synths and chimes make for really good lead instruments, and I especially like the percussion in this one. The bit crunch sound fits really well for this song. The beginning always reminds me of lobby music, which makes sense for the name of the song. When it becomes more mellow during the middle, it reminds me of more traditional Minecraft music. But then it comes back in a really cool, natural transition. I don't have a lot more to say about it, just that it's really, really good. Other Side is beautiful. Out of all the discs not written by C418, this sounds the most like something he would write, which is absolutely a compliment. It starts out as a simple tune played by a horn, and when the beat drops, oh man is it good. It just makes me want to sit back and chill. When it adds the synth, it gets even better. You end up enjoying yourself whenever you listen to this one. It's like nothing could ever go wrong in the world. And then, when you're least expecting it, there's a key change. Suddenly the song takes on a darker tone, almost like you're seeing the other side of it. The melodies stop matching up. A background synth slowly builds until it takes over the entire song. It finishes with an ominous ticking, almost like a clock. The sudden change is what makes me put this song as high as it is. I would probably put it around 10th place without it, but taking a fun tune and turning it into an almost hauntingly beautiful piece is seriously impressive, and I think it works extremely well. Number 5 is the most surprising song on this list for me. When I started preparing for this video a few months ago, I listened to all the discs again, and I was surprised by how much I liked Ward. I think I had always written it off because it starts with Chopin's Funeral March of all things. But after that, it jumps into a very nice 8-bit melody. It's mysterious sounding, almost like something out of a horror game. But then it adds in the percussion and I can't help but bop my head to it. Then the melody drops and an 80s synthwave-like part starts. Then, just as quickly as it left, the melody returns for a brief moment, only for the entire song to suddenly change. The new melody fits completely with the vibe of the first one, so it doesn't feel very jarring. It plays by itself for a moment, until it drops that beat, and once again I am carried away by how good it is. And we're only halfway through the song? The old melody briefly returns, until the song changes completely again. It adds a new, more cheerful sounding tune, which is then backed up by a reverbed synth that always reminds me of the intro to a certain Christmas song. It drops the beat for a second time, and wow. Just wow. It slowly fades out to finish. Even after I realized the song was good, I was thinking it would be in the high teens. But the more and more I listened to it, the more I've realized it's one of my favorites. So much so that I would consider it to be my second favorite disc by C418. It took a while after their release for the Tricky Trial discs to grow on me. I was a little put off by their instrumentation, their energy, and all of the new things they were bringing to the Minecraft soundtrack. An electric guitar? In my Minecraft? But at this point, I can confidently say that they have both become some of my absolute favorites. They fit the Trial Chamber super well, in two completely different ways. But I don't like Precipice quite as much as I like Creator. That being said, it's still my number 4 pick, so that doesn't mean very much. It's the second longest disc in the game, and I will admit it can get a little repetitive. But the melody it's using is so strong, I don't really care. The beginning of the song reminds me a ton of Battle Against a True Hero, which is absolutely not a bad thing. And when it adds the piano notes, I ascend to another plane of existence. It mellows out for just a moment before the main melody returns, stronger than ever. When the guitar takes over the melody, it sounds incredible. After it slows down again, it comes back with what I'm pretty sure is a slowed down version of Moog City 2, which might be my favorite song in the entire Minecraft soundtrack. It keeps doing this for the rest of the song until it finishes with a bang. It's an amazing musical journey, and it stays just as good for the entire song. I find it crazy that this is still only 4th place. We've reached the top 3. Throughout this list, I have struggled placing most of these songs, because I love them all so much. But I have never doubted what my top 3 were going to be. Honestly, they could probably be shuffled around and I'd still be happy. But this order is what I think fits my opinion best. Number 3 is going to be Cat. It starts out rather unassumingly with what seems like a somewhat random string of notes. After a little while, it starts adding synths, which continue to slowly build onto the melody until... This relatively simple melody captures the whimsy, the joy, the nostalgia, the feeling of playing Minecraft. As the melody lowers, the discordant notes stop, as the melody is isolated, playing a hopeful, sweet section. Then, new percussion starts, and that incredible melody starts again. The percussion goes away and we hear those random but endearing notes in the background one last time as the melody fades out. When I think about Minecraft music discs, I think about Cat. This is absolutely some of C418's best work. Maybe this is all nostalgia talking, but this is my list, and I get to do with it what I want. And I want to put Cat at number 3. Like I mentioned with Precipice, I really like the Trial Chamber discs, and Creator is the one I like the most. It's funny, Creator Music Box got second to last place, and Creator is getting second place. The song just has the feel of a Trial Chamber. The music box at the beginning gives a feeling of calm, while also making you wary, which is very similar to entering a Trial Chamber without activating any trial spawners. When the beat speeds up and the clock-like percussion comes in, it's like the trial spawners are activating. The different gear, clock, and wind-up sounds fit with all the working parts inside the trial chamber. The melody changes between being played by a flute, an accordion, and a guitar. Then, about halfway through the song, the melody switches to an electric guitar and I am left speechless. While this absolute masterpiece graces your ears, the percussion still fits with the trial chamber theme. This whole song just feels like a trial chamber, while genuinely being one of my favorite songs of all time. Finally, we go back to the guitar and then back to the music box, bringing the whole thing full circle. Just an absolutely incredible piece. Yeah, I put Pigstep first place. This probably doesn't come as a surprise, but come on, this is definitely the best one. You know what I said about Creator fitting the trial chamber? Times that by 10 for Pigstep in the Nether. The horns sound like piglin snorts, the percussion sounds like fire, bones rattling, and vines rustling. The background synth sounds like gas noises. The song just feels like something piglins would make. I never questioned if the song fit into Minecraft because it absolutely fit into the Nether. And on top of all that, it sounds incredible. I love the intro and how it slowly builds up to the beat drop. And when the beat drops, it sounds like the whole Nether paused to make a masterpiece. Halfway through it, it introduces new instruments to make the best part of the whole song. And when the percussion drops, it creates the perfect setup for the song to come back and continue to be the best disc in the entire game. It doesn't feel like anything else in Minecraft, but yet it fits so well. It's songs like Pigstep that make this one of the greatest video game soundtracks of all time. And with that, I've ranked every single disc in Minecraft. This was surprisingly hard, but it all came together to be one of my favorite videos I've ever made. How would you rank these discs? Tell me your rankings in the comments. If you would like to see me do more rankings, also let me know. Maybe next time I could do the entire Alpha album. I had a ton of fun making the video, so hopefully I can do more in the future. Anyway, have a great day and I'll see you next time.